All right, so in our first video on the falling fifth sequence, the bass is jumping up a fourth, down a fifth, so it's always going down by fifth, basically. And we saw how nicely that leads. If we're doing 7, 5, 3 chords on all of those chords, the seventh resolves down by step to become a third. The third stays the same, becomes the seventh in the next chord. And then we alternate which chords have fifths, which chords don't have fifths in a 4-voice texture. Of course, 3-voice texture, that's the easy way to play jazz piano. It sounds fantastic. It works. You're doing bass note and 2 notes in your right hand. And you can suck at piano like I do, and it still sound great. So, a little bit less interesting, in my opinion, but still very common, is the falling fifth sequence where we don't have those lovely sevenths. We just do all 5 3s, all 5 3 chords. So let's take a look at the whiteboard on this one. And since I did the last one in a major key, let's do this one in a minor key. So let's go ahead and start off on A minor. We'll do a nice little A minor here. A, we're just going to go down fifths. So A down a fifth, D down a fifth, takes us to G, down a fifth, takes us to C, down a fifth, takes us to F, down a fifth, takes us to B, down a fifth, takes us to E, down a fifth, takes us to A. All right. Now, like I said, sequences we can break out. If I'd wanted to, I could have gotten to this point here and gone, no, I'm going to do a Phrygian half cadence, and then I would just break the sequence and go lay, and just stop that and just go straight lay sol, and that would work. You can get off it anywhere in the sequence, and you eventually can use the sequence to change keys. We'll get there in the future. But let's go ahead and just write in some voices here. And for this one, there tends to be this motion of up a step, down a third. That tends to happen. So let's write a couple of voices here. Let's go. We'll start off E and an A and a C. We'll voice it with in the position that the third is in the top of the melody here. That works very nicely. Like I said, we're going to do all 5 3s in this one. And what you're going to find is that it's not going to be as smooth as our 7-5-3 was. So there's going to be a little bit more disjunct motion in the top voices. But it's going to sound good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do this. What we learned in 3-voice. In fact, we even learned back in 2-voice writing the principle of up a step, down a third, up a step, down a third. And that works really nicely with this line. I'm going to take a step up and down a third. And you see that A to C was a third, D to D is an octave. G to B is a third, it's going to step up to the octave. It's going to leap down a third to become the third, step up to the octave. Leap down to become the third, which is my T, and then step up to become the octave. So I have this up a step, down a third, up a step, down a third, up a step, down a third, up a step pattern going on. And that works very, very nicely. And I can do that actually with this voice as well. The E steps up to become an F, F drops down to become the D. Step up, down a third, step up, down a third, step up, down a third. And of course, since it's the inner voice, we can go re, may, and step up on that, and that works absolutely fantastically. And then these voices moving in parallel sixths, or if we were to flip them around and put the E on top, they'd be moving in parallel thirds with each other. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Now the 4th voice is just going to be my filler voice. A. So that kind of just stays the same. All right, now I need to fill in the chord. Okay, so I've got a G and a D and a B. That's a full chord. C, E, and C. I need a G here, which means I need a G here. And then you can see the pattern now. This is going down by step. And then down by step to F. Stays the same. Down by step to E. And stay the same to give us the full 5-3 chord at the end. And so that remembering that pattern of up by step, down by third, up by step, down by third, and you can just kind of see how that works against the bass. As if the bass, goes up by fourth, And these voices go up by step. If the bass goes down the fifth, and these voices go down by third. And alternating up steps, down thirds, with the other voice just staying the same, going down by step. The octave becomes the fifth, step down to the octave becomes the fifth, step down to the octave becomes the fifth, step down to the octave becomes the fifth. And of course, that's the extraneous voice. Again, if I wanted to do a 3-voice texture, I could get rid of that middle voice entirely. Just go like that. I don't need it. No one needs those octaves and fifths. And the 3-voice texture works just as well on the top of that. So practice these sequences in different keys, and it's so great. You learn so much about voice leading of chords by doing falling fifths. Like I said, Rameau ended up basing his entire thing on fifth motion, that things went down a fifth. Do went down a fifth to fa. Re goes down a fifth to sol, which goes down a fifth back to do. And then he did this little hand wave thing, which he called the miraculous mutation, where by fa and re were somehow the same chord, even though they're, you know, a third apart from each other. It steps up somewhere. Fa to sol is a step. Do to re is a step. We know if we're working with the tetractys scale is made of 2/4 and 1 step, and you can't avoid that step, and we don't need to miraculously mutate it. But falling fifths are cool, and that's one of the things I agree with Rameau on. His falling fifths are cool. Learn them.